Shop smart, shop S-Smart.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the New Book Otis.
I'm your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is returning creator and friend of the channel, Mr. Dojo Kun. What's going on, sir? How you doing, man?
It's great to be back on the show. Thanks again. And I have to say, I really appreciate the Honolulu Blue Lion in your intro.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing about that intro is it was just a random intro that I started for that I created for a show called Live or something like it, and I've only done like a couple of those, so I just kind of transitioned it into the intro for New Book Who Dis. Eventually, I'm going to make one that actually pulls from all the different episodes, because I've done a lot of these now. I've done quite a few, but yeah,
it's my third time on the show, so yeah, you must have done a lot.
Oh yeah, I guess I kicked my channel off about 4 years ago in 2020. I started with the Sing Along of Doom. That was my first live stream, and then Jason Unhinged Ent reached out to me. He was like, "Hey man, you wanna do a drawing show?" And that's how Topicless got started about 4 years ago. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride ever since, man. But yeah, to getting back to the Blue Lion, it's I don't know. I was just playing around with my video editing program. I was like, I wonder if I can do this and have it still be a video. And lo and behold, I was able to do it. And I kind of identify, I guess, as a little bit as a blue lion. So just I don't know, little bit of me in the intro, I suppose. But yeah, it was just a random clip intro, and yeah, it's kind of stuck. And now it's the intro for this show. So yeah, but thank you for that. I appreciate that.
No worries.
We'll go ahead and say hi to the chat. We got Omen Screaming Raven. What's up, dude? Thanks for hanging out. And then got my beautiful and lovely lady in the chat, Skull Gorgeous.
Hey, Feline.
Good to see you. She's always here, always got my back, saying hi to everybody, and love that blue lion.
See, it's particularly poignant for me right now because our Lions are just kicking ass.
Nice. Yeah, Detroit Lions, right? That's where the Lions are based out of.
I'm up from Michigan, and just Sunday, which was yesterday, we beat the Jaguars 52-6.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's not just beating them, that's spanking them. Holy crap.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are actually the local team from where I'm at currently. I'm in St. Augustine. So Jacksonville is like, 40 minutes north on US 1 from where I'm at. So I used to watch the Jaguars play with my dad. That was like the last time that I actually paid attention to football was when Mark Brunell was the quarterback of the Jaguars.
They are not doing well this year. They are now 2-9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Well, hey, they have, from what I understand, they haven't had a good team for a very long time, unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really pay attention much to football anymore, but big cats. I like big cats. But I'm a Leo, so I'm partial to lions.
There you go. All right.
Yep.
Well,
yep. And I'm from northern Indiana. Say again.
A lot of us from around here are partial to the Lions right now.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's always nice to see your team do well. But yeah, I'm originally from northern Indiana, so I have friends and family that are up in Michigan. So,
really? Okay, so northern Indiana, where I was a disc jockey, I was in Delphi, Monticello, and Logansport.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne is where
okay.
have a lot of family in Fort Wayne. It's a cool town. It's a cool town. One of my favorite metal bands actually would always go to Fort Wayne. Static X. Static X would always play in Fort Wayne. I'd be looking at the list of like where they're going to play, seeing if it's coming anywhere near me in Florida that's not like, 3, 4, 6 hours away. No. But Fort Wayne, every tour, they would show up in Fort Wayne. I'd be like, really?
Awesome.
So if I was up near family, I could go see it. But, yeah. Yep. So I always got screwed out of seeing Static X. Even when they did the Resurgence tour, the Regeneration tour, because Wayne Static died, I guess about 10 years ago now, and they took a bunch of like old recordings and they put together like the last recordings of Wayne Static and made a couple of albums out of it. And they had some other people come in and do vocals to kind of put them together and make them into full-blown songs. And they went on tour with a guy that they call him Zero, and he's kind of got a mask and hair that looks like Wayne, so paying homage to Wayne. And even then, they wouldn't come anywhere near St. Augustine. It's like, you got to drive all the way out to Tampa or St. Petersburg or fucking Miami. And I'm like, no, damn it, Jacksonville, come on. So, yeah. But his car has Florida tags. Yes, it currently has Florida tags. It means nothing. I'm not a Florida driver, no matter how much you try to, say that I am. And quiet you. Trouble. Nothing but trouble, that one. But she is dropping the link for the Dojo Kun Chronicles, which is what we are going to be talking about here tonight.
Appreciate you.
But absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thanks for coming to hang out. You read anything good recently? Anything you pick up from the comic shop? Anything exciting you that you've read recently?
I'll tell you what. I've been down on the mainstream for quite a while, but I've always collected She-Hulk. We may have talked about that before. She made an appearance in Daredevil somewhat recently, a few months back.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I bought that issue, and it was really good. So I went back all the way to number 1, and I've been collecting Daredevil ever since. It's I have to admit, it's been very well written over the course of this run.
I'm happy to hear that, actually.
Yeah, it's great. Basically, he's been fighting against the 7 deadly sin demons, and the one that took over She-Hulk was gluttony.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's been facing off against a lot of his friends, colleagues, even some enemies who have been possessed by demons. So it's been a pretty good, and all the while trying to keep up his life as a Catholic priest. So,
so he's no longer a lawyer. He's a Catholic priest now.
Right. I guess what I don't know is how he died. I guess he died, but he's back or something.
Yeah. I mean, death in comics, does it really hold any sway anymore? I mean, all these characters have died and come back, umpteen times.
Right. Yeah. There's no finality to anybody's death. So he died. He came back. Now he's a priest, or he was for the first 12, 13 issues. And like I said, it's been very well written. So I think I'm going to stick with it for a while.
That's cool. Like to hear it. It's funny you mentioned She-Hulk. I'm actually in the process of working on a She-Hulk sketch cover for a former customer from the comic shop that I worked at.
Okay, so obviously you can't send that to me because you're working on it for him.
Yeah, it's a commission. But
you could just scan a copy to me.
I mean, if you want to commission me to do a She-Hulk sketch cover for you, you just hit me up, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I've got. I actually will be Copic hitting that up with Copic markers once I'm done. This is the other sketch cover that I did for the same customer. It's,
nice.
It's Captain Marvel. It's the famous Captain Marvel cover where she's pulling the gloves on, but he wanted her giving the finger because this is what he feels, how he feels about how Kevin Feige's been handling the MCU recently.
Okay,
so,
well, apropos then.
Right? Yeah. So, yep. That's that's what I'm going to be finishing up tonight after the show here. Omen Screaming Raven says, the only death that's still standing is Uncle Ben, maybe. It depends on if you count multiverse versions. Because in the whole Spider-Verse thing, there was a version of Spider-Man that was Uncle Ben that got the spider bite instead of Peter. So I don't know, this whole multiverse thing, man, it gets so tiresome just because it's not really all that creative. It's like, this is what passes. This is just my opinion. Some of the multiverse stuff can be fun, but when it's done to death, it's used as a crutch, and like time travel. Time travel, if it's not done properly, is absolutely a crutch. The story has to be planned with it, as part of the overall narrative, rather than just being like, oh, well, this is a Deus Ex Machina we can just throw in here to fix the corner that we've written ourselves into, which is what multiverse and time travel usually end up being, at least in my opinion.
I really think they should have limited the multiverse stories to What If.
Well, that's originally what they were.
Yeah,
What If and Elseworlds. Those were the multiverse. It was a different thing. Although DC is kind of I think they're kind of the one to blame for the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths thing. Because they just kind of went ham back in the day. They're like, just write whatever you want. We'll put it on a different Earth. Don't worry about it. And then people are like, so which version of Superman is this? Which version of Batman?
Right.
And they're like, all right, well, we got to get rid of these multiple Earths and collapse them and, kill off Barry Allen. Spoilers for a 30-year-old story.
And Supergirl, don't forget.
That's right. Famous cover of Superman holding Supergirl dead.
Right.
Dead! But then they brought back a different version of Supergirl, so not really dead. Who knows?
Right.
Raven says, you have a good point about the multiverse, and poor Spidey. He has been so overused with it, but maybe it's just me. There's entirely too many Spider people in the MCU now. Way too many.
They have so far diluted all of their major IPs. There's how many Hulks? They've got chromatic Hulks now. I can't. Obviously, I'm a She-Hulk fan, but that should be as far as the derivatives went. But then they got Red Hulk, Red She-Hulk. They've got a blue, a gray. I mean, come on.
They've got a blue Hulk now? What?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the gray one. Actually, the gray Hulk is one of my favorites, Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah, well, the gray was the color he was originally in like the first two issues. So that Mr. Fix-It era, when he and Patch got together, that was kind of interesting because that was a Wolverine.
Oh, talk about a fucking dangerous duo. Holy crap. Like, I mean, the Gray Hulk may not be as strong as the Green Hulk and, doesn't get stronger the madder he gets.
Right.
But he's got Banner's intellect and he's ruthless. So he'll outwit you and then lay the smackdown. And he's still plenty strong enough to, crush you. So that was my favorite version of Hulk was Mr. Fix-It, ruthless mobster with the strength of the Hulk. I mean that's dangerous.
And then team him up with Wolverine as Patch.
Who is also kind of like an underworld gangster, but in Madripoor. So that's dangerous, just absolutely dangerous. Two of my favorite characters. Wolverine's always been one of my favorites since I was a kid. Ever since, I mean, obviously Wolverine's not for kids, but, of course that just makes kids love him even more. I mean, look at Deadpool. Deadpool is absolutely 100% not for kids, but, of course that makes kids love him even more. So.
Oh, you're saying I can't watch this?
Wait, this is verboten? Well, that just totally means that I have to, find it and watch it.
So, back to the point about them diluting their characters. They've got so many Spider people, Wolverines, Hulk. I mean, and supposedly that's not even counting the multiverse. This is all like within 616. So it's lazy.
Yeah. See, before the whole like Spider-Verse thing, like I liked that we had Peter Parker, and then you remember Kane from the Clone Saga?
Oh, yeah.
He was the defective clone that had the long hair, and he had like the like veiny black bodysuit and the purple cape. Well, they kind of retooled him to be the new Scarlet Spider, and he had like these stingers that came out of his forearms. So they made him different. They made him different. He was like, it was if Spider-Man was kind of cut loose, like unleashed. Didn't have the same moral quandaries as Peter. So he was like a darker version of Spider-Man, but not quite, Venom.
Okay, right.
So, and there's a bunch of different Venoms running around now too. So I mean, it's just everything that's popular gets 4 or 5 different variations. It seems. So I don't know, but yeah, I enjoyed Kane as the Scarlet Spider. He had a cool costume. And then they just kind of went ape shit with all of the different Spider-Man versions after that. So I don't know. Again, my opinion is the multiverse is overused, and not to great effect. I mean, if you're building a story with that in mind, and you're crafting a story to use that to its advantage and use it as a story element and not just a get out of jail free card, then yeah, it can work, just like time travel. But you got to do it right, you know. What's up, Edwin? Good to see you, sir. Welcome. Good to see you, man. So, yeah, I had to drop off a sketch cover that I did for an owner of a comic shop out in Palatka. Is a Conan sketch cover. You know, the classic Conan standing on the pile of like rubble and bones with the hot chick on his leg. You know, the classic Frazetta painting. It was my homage to that. I posted it up on X. But yeah, I picked up a stack of old image books. Got some Prophet, Stephen Platt, Dark Child, Randy Green, old Ascension, Glory, Angela. Just these are just fun art books.
Sure.
The stories may not have been the best. Let's just say, but I mean, Ale Garza, some of his early work, Eve Protomecha, just beautiful looking artwork, inspiration. And then, of course, got Lady Death 1/2. I'm a huge fan of Lady Death, and I never had this book. And he just happened to have it, and it still has the certificate of authenticity.
That was from Wizard, right?
Yep, Wizard 1/2. Had to pick this up. But speaking of a story that is actually good.
You sound very distant when you turn away.
Oh yeah, that's because the microphone you got to be right up on it. Have you ever read this book, Strike Force Moratori?
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
We Who Are About to Die Strike Force. This series does not get enough credit for being like one of the early adult superhero stories. Like, this came out at the same time as Watchmen and The Dark Knight, and people die in this. Yes. This is a serious superhero story that had consequences, man. Long story short, for people not familiar, half the Earth has been taken over by an alien horde that is slowly whittling away at humanity. Within the human stronghold, they've got scientists that have created the serum that gives people superpowers so they can fight back. You get this serum, you get superpowers, and you are able to fight back. But the problem is that no matter how long you manage to survive, it has a 100% mortality rate. It will kill the user. Doesn't matter. It could be a month from now. It could be 3 weeks from now. It could be 5 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. But it will kill you no matter what. So that's why the title is We Who Are About to Die, Strike Force Moratori. If you guys can find a trade of it out there, go pick it up. It's fucking fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I think it was like a 24-issue series back in the day, put out by Marvel, no less. Back in the 80s when Marvel was still doing good.
Around the same era, they're also, in my opinion, unsung, are Alien Legion.
Yes.
And believe it or not, that was an Epic comic book line story, which is also Marvel, isn't it? Epic?
Yeah, Epic was published by Marvel back in the day. Yeah. And
then the other one sounds silly on the surface, but turned out to be a really good book, and that's Atari Force.
I've actually never read Atari Force, but I have heard Aaron Lopresti complain about Atari Force a lot. I'm not sure what his beef is, but...
To give you an idea of why it turned out to be pretty good, at least for the second half of the series, if I remember right, as far as how many, it was written by Mike Barron.
Oh, love Mike.
Yeah.
See, Mike knows how to craft a good story, no matter the subject matter. Yeah.
It did start out well before he started writing it. Like I said, it sounds silly because it's based on, video games or whatever.
Right. I think that might be why Aaron has an issue with it, because it's based on video game characters.
But, the characters are pretty intriguing. They're interesting. One of them is sort of a standout character, and that's the female mercenary named Dart.
Okay. Yeah.
She was pretty popular. I'm surprised, honestly, that character alone didn't get a life of its own and go on.
Right.
But I think once Atari Force was done, because of licensing, they probably couldn't do that.
That's usually what it was. A lot of Epic stuff was licensed material. I know Epic put out. I believe they put out. I know they put out Thundercats. I believe they put out RoboCop, and I know they did Care Bears, and I want to say Dino Riders. I could be wrong about that one. But yeah, a lot of that stuff was licensed, and they brought some stuff from Europe over here, and they published it for the American audience. And then the Epic also was part of like the kind of more mature storytelling line from Marvel, rather than just being the mainline Marvel stuff. But yeah, Strike Force Morituri. Actually published by Marvel. It's not connected to the Marvel universe, but it was published by Marvel. As you can see, the corner box here, 75 cents. But yeah, if you guys can find this, definitely worth checking out.
The Epic line also had Epic Illustrated, which was magazine sized.
Yeah,
and
those were awesome.
Over the course of, I don't know if it was 10 or 12 issues of it, was The Last Galactus story by John Byrne, written and drawn by John Byrne.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he never did get to finish it because it was canceled while that story was still ongoing.
Yeah.
Now, I think I may have misspoke. He may have finished it. It just wasn't published in Epic.
I wonder if it either got collected as a collected edition or a trade, or if he did it on his website. Because he kept doing X-Men for like years after he finished his official run on X-Men. He kept writing and drawing like X-Men comics that continued the run that he did with Chris Claremont. So just like kind of ignoring all the shit that Jim Lee and all those guys did, like the mainstream Marvel books. Yeah, just completely ignored all that and continued the continuity like from the 70s, 80s X-Men.
You know what? That shows that he really enjoyed doing that one. There have been a few comic book titles that he has come out and said, I didn't even really want to do that. Like he didn't want to do Alpha Flight. He didn't want to do Sensational She-Hulk. And in some ways, in some ways that came out. In Sensational She-Hulk, he looked at Savage She-Hulk, the original line, and how she was such a B, C, maybe even D level character.
Yeah.
And they had her facing against like some of the silliest villains. So he took that as if she would then continue in that vein. And like she would face like Razorback, Sprag the Living Hill, just crazy man elephant, just some crazy D-level villains and all that. And so he made her basically a punchline when he did her solo story. But when he wrote her as part of the Fantastic Four, the characterization there, he did a phenomenal job. He did not treat that one poorly. His writing and art on the Fantastic Four is like gold standard, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his run on She-Hulk though is praised for being, some of the best She-Hulk stuff written. Like when she started breaking the fourth wall and, being, something more than just, a female version of Hulk.
That did set her apart. You're right.
Yeah. It made her different. It gave her a unique personality. He kind of leaned more into the lawyer aspect of her, and then, again, allowed her to break the fourth wall. I mean, she was one of the first characters to actually do that, long before Deadpool did. Unfortunately, the TV show really botched the landing on that one, from what I understand.
Well, there were parts of the TV show that I thought were great, and parts that I thought that they could have done better. I mean, I liked it enough that I got it.
Oh, okay. All right. So it wasn't as horrible as it could have been. Good.
Right.
I'm happy to hear that.
I did a 60-second subject on this too. Deadpool not being the first to break the fourth wall. You're right. She-Hulk did it far before him. And at the same time she did, Animal Man in DC Comics broke the fourth wall pretty significantly. But decades before them, Superman broke the fourth wall. At the end of most of his comics, he would say something kind of snarky, look, I'll say off camera at the reader and wink, or say something that was clearly meant to be to the reader. So he was breaking the fourth wall like back in the Silver Age.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense. That was the Silver Age. They were still doing stuff that they would do back in the Golden Age. They were allowed to be a little tongue in cheek. Comics got real serious towards the end of the Silver Age, beginning of the Bronze Age. Very, very serious. See, Screaming Raven says, Ale Garza, great artist and absolutely love his title, Ninja Boy. Yeah, Ali's great. Love his stuff, and he's only gotten better over the years. His new stuff is just, it's fire. Fire! Feline dropping the link for Dojo Kun Chronicles in here again. So I was looking at your Indiegogo page, and it says you've been publishing comics since 2014. Dojo Kun Comics been putting out books since 2014. How did you get into that, man? How, obviously you've been reading comics for a long time. They're a big part of your life. You love stories. You love comics. What made you decide to want to start publishing books of your own?
Well, like you said, I've been now collecting for 50 years. So back in 2012,
What's up,
I wanted
Rick?
to get back involved. Oh, hey, Rick. I wanted to get back involved in collecting. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to try my hand at writing. I'm not an artist, so I'm going to try writing. So I wrote an entire issue of, surprise, She-Hulk. And I looked at Marvel. Okay. I looked at the Marvel website and I said, okay, now how do I submit this to somebody to see if I've got the chops? Well, I searched all over their website, page after page after page. Finally found the page that says, guess what? You don't. Basically, it said, go get published and we'll find you.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks, but okay, I'll see what I can do.
Right.
I went to a site called what was it? zwall.com, ZWOL. Oh, sorry, not .com, .org. It was Walensky was the guy's last name who had this website. It may still be out there. It's a site.
That name sounds familiar.
Writers and artists and letterers, etc., all come together. There are various skill levels and price points.
Right.
But there was an ad there that said, writers needed, and we need help with accounting. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but that was I'm an auditor, a fraud examiner, anti-money laundering specialist, and I've been in accounting for years. So
it was right up your alley then.
I'm like, have we met? So
did you make this for me?
I sent them a resume of all of my accounting experience, and I sent them the script for She-Hulk, just as an example. Obviously, I knew they wouldn't be able to use it, but I thought this would be an example of whether or not I could write. Well, they got back in touch with me within an hour, and I was hired.
Oh, wow. All right.
So this was a small press comic book company. It was called Affinity Storm Press. I worked for them for about a year and a half, and then went on to another company called Red King Press. And it was for Red King that I wrote Siamese. Now, when we parted company, I'll just say that's the tactful way of saying it. Yeah. Either he had to pay me for the things I had done, or he would allow me to take Siamese with me. Okay. So he had no way to pay me, so Siamese was mine.
So you got to take the characters that you created. Okay.
Exactly. I got to take, so the 4-issue miniseries that I wrote for Red King Press, I was able to rebrand it and reissue it as my own, obviously.
Awesome.
And my first crowdfunding effort was the trade paperback collecting that 4-issue miniseries.
Right on. Yeah, I remember that.
Siamese funded within 3 days. Oh, I'm sort of getting ahead of myself. So back in 2014 is when I went off to start publishing on my own. Right. I had been doing most of the work for Red King Press, sort of behind the scenes. He didn't do a whole lot of it. I'm not going to say he did none. That would be exaggerating, but I did a lot of it. And I figured when we parted ways, I thought, I think I can do this. Now, there was still a lot of learning curve to go on there. There was a lot of things to figure out. But along the way, if this current campaign, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, if this funds and gets completed, this will be my 15th comic book.
Wow, that is fantastic, man. That's a heck of a thing. Just plugging away at it for 10 years, and now the crowdfunding thing pops up. I see you are sharing the campaign page, so I'll go ahead and add this.
All right.
If you want to, that way you can kind of walk us through it. So what? Tell us basically about this new book, 100-page monster of superhero excitement.
Yeah. So I had been putting out comic books that were much smaller anthologies. One failed campaign I had was called To'urou Tales. And I think one of the reasons that it didn't resonate with folks, the title was difficult to pronounce. It looks like Toro Tales, but Toro is Spanish for bull.
Right.
But the To'uro'u is the stone lantern in my company web logo.
Oh, okay. All right.
But as
Stone Lantern Tales, basically.
Yeah. But as clever as that sounded to me, a lot of folks didn't agree.
Right.
So that one didn't make it. So what I did was I took those. There was just a few stories. There was like 4 stories in that one. I grabbed those and put those together with a lot of other one-shot or chapters that I had written to put together for Dojo Kun Chronicles. So this is 9 different chapters, and they vary in length from 3 pages to just get the character out there and the origin told to 16 pages. So Bot 42, which is Biometric Organ Transporter, Bot 42 has 16 pages in this book. It really tells chapters 1 and 2, his origin, and then his first, supervillain battle. So
it's kind of like an anthology book with a bunch of different superhero stories. That's cool. I dig it. All right, a lot of content.
These characters will eventually coalesce into a team called Trident's New Alliance. And of course, that's, God willing that this becomes, funded and I get it out in the hands of the readers, because this one will then fund the next one if at all possible. This one, when I say that, that's because this one is 100% complete. And
awesome.
That's important, I think, because my last book, Projectile Reptile, it wasn't complete when I launched, and I ended up late with that one, which killed me. Every day that passed that it wasn't in the hands of the backers was driving me nuts. I had some excuses,
and the backers, they get a little antsy sometimes when stuff is late.
Some were very patient with me, but some got a little antsy. I had some excuses, but I don't want to throw those out because that's exactly what they are, just excuses. This one here, I knew that in order for people to back confidently, this one would have to be completely done. So all I need now is for Indiegogo to send me the funds. I get the pre-press files to the printer, and we're off to the races.
Awesome. That's awesome. Which means that all the backers will not have to wait long to get this book.
That's right.
Just the length of time it takes to get it printed.
And along those same lines, Deanna Hammer of the Angels #1 is a supplemental on this campaign. That one is also 100% complete. That's 22 pages. And we'll take a closer look at the cover. You can see it a little bit right here in this, in the trailer picture there. But in fact, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and hit the trailer.
Yeah, go for it, man. Absolutely.
Right, cool. Let's do that.
Dojo Kun Chronicles is a 100-page compilation of origin stories for 13 different superheroes from Dojo Kun Comics. Bot 42, Lone Shark, Wisecracker, Sparrow, and many more. Many creative talents came together to chronicle these stories, including main cover artist Eric Ninaltowski, with colorist Matt Yackey, the XX chromosome cover by artist Stefani Renee, and colorist Chris Leithwood, and the XY chromosome cover by artist Elliot Rodriguez, also colored by Chris. Deanna, Hammer of the Angels #1 will also be available, with catch-up tiers to get Siamese and Projectile Reptile. Help make it happen for Dojo Kun Comics.
Yeah. Just short and sweet there. But you can also see, as we're looking here at the campaign, it's struggling a bit. It's struggling a lot, Luke. You can see I've got 6 days left on this first 30, and it's limping along. This last week, I got a few more backers, one of whom grabbed the featured tier, which is the all-in, the completist collector tier.
Awesome.
So what they're going to get is all 3 covers, plus the hardcover version of the main cover, plus Deanna, plus Siamese, plus Projectile Reptile, plus the 2 Ashkans, which we'll take a look at in a minute. So
that's a lot of comics.
It's the whole thing, yeah. And somebody has claimed it. I'm hoping some others avail themselves of that featured tier. But
right on.
Let's take a look at the campaign, and then folks can take a look at the tiers.
Yeah, it's a great cover. Eric did a great job, and I mean, Yackey is just fantastic. I love Yackey. That's my boy. I love Yackey.
This was a great get. Eric and I have been working together on his book Shadow Sentry. I say working. You know what? I helped edit. He did all the work, but I helped some edits and things like that. So he was gracious and gave me a good price for this.
Right on. He does great work, man. I love his line
work. This is an
work.
homage cover too. It's to Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 8. And
Okay.
it seems funny with all these heroes on it, but it was a cover that featured the West Coast Avengers for some reason.
Okay.
So it was by Todd Knock. So I thought
I love Todd's work too. Yeah, Todd's great.
He's good. I think he's underrated, to be honest with you.
I agree.
But Eric Ninaltowski then did an homage to that with my characters here. Now, sticking with that kind of that theme, that scene with the city in the background, which is what I had on Siamese, I also had this cover done. This one here, I call it the XX chromosome variant. You can see why if you look at all the characters.
All the ladies.
That's right. This one here is another great get on my part, and that's because I got Stefani Renee to do this cover.
Stefani's great. Yeah.
Stefani's great. He's been out of the scene for quite a while due to some significant health complications.
Oh no.
So to get this was it was difficult. It was a chance I took. I'm like, he's likely going to say no, but he was available at the time and feeling up to it. So I'm very lucky.
That's awesome.
I got this.
Yeah.
And then the third cover, I call it the XY chromosome cover, is by Elliot Rodriguez. He and I have been working together quite a bit over the years as well.
Elliot's great too. You got some good folks on this campaign doing some work for you, man.
One of the things I can tell you that was fun about this too is I said on the night we launched, I said, we've got a hidden contest. There is what seems to be an error somewhere in this campaign. The person who can identify what seems to be an error and explain why it isn't one wins a copy of Deanna Hammer of the Angels #1 to come along with whatever they back.
Has anybody managed to figure it out yet?
Yes, and leave it to the great creative mind of Dave Brink from Genuine Comics, but he identified that the error seemingly was the fact that Sparrow here in the middle top is on the XY chromosome cover.
Yeah.
Why is Sparrow there? So he said, okay, that seems to be the error. He said, and the reason is, and this is because he paid close attention to one of my appearances on a show like this one. Not as good as this one, but like this one.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
He said, you said that she's a kleptomaniac who was given extra powers. I bet she stole the position on the cover from the original Sparrow. And it's like, how? I mean, I was flabbergasted that he got it so dead on so fast. And that's hilarious. Sparrow, and she stole, and it's very meta if you think about it. She stole the spot on the cover, so she knows she's on the cover.
Okay, so she's kind of aware that she's a comic book character.
Right.
That's awesome. Okay.
So I mean, for him to pick up on that quickly, I mean, he's got his own universe of superheroes, so maybe it shouldn't surprise me because Perfect 10 and the universe that he's creating with Genuine Comics is just so
Dave's
good.
Another one that does fantastic work. Like he draws some truly bodacious babes, as it were.
Dave Brink is actually the writer. His artist is Paul Roderick.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. For some reason, I thought Dave did the writing and the art. Oh, okay.
Like me, hashtag just a writer.
Okay.
So
okay, cool. I did not realize that, but Dave still does good work.
Oh yeah,
people love that book. Perfect 10. He's been rocking and rolling for years now.
Yeah, he's on Perfect 10 #5.
That's awesome.
He's really focusing on that IP and doing a good job. Well, I say focusing, but he's also got Power Trip, which is sort of an anthology book that he puts out with each campaign. It's got like 3 stories in each of them. And here I'm shilling for him. I'm supposed to be talking about my book.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I just want to comment one thing on having the book 100% done. Feline says that she's still waiting on comics and perks from other campaigns that she's backed. So having the book 100% done and ready to go. So once the book gets funded, you just send it to the printer and people get their stuff. I think it's a fantastic thing to do. I think it's the way to go.
It's going to be our business model going forward because I want people. I'm a relative unknown A few people know about me. I've got some repeat backers, but overall, a relative unknown. I really want people to have confidence. Okay, so
Right.
I'm not going to be waiting forever for this guy. It's done.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that,
Yep.
dude, I remember when this this kind of crowdfunding indie scene started over here, and there was the idea that okay, the book's not done. We need the crowdfunding in order to get the ball rolling. But people kind of got a little gun shy, having to wait 2-3 years for a book. Then they really want to get this book as soon as possible, and having the book at least partial way done, at least like a third of the way done before you launch something, or halfway done, or 3/4 of the way done, and now some, if you can, 100% done and ready to go. I think that is the new business model. That shows respect for the customer. It shows respect for the fans. That way they can get this book within a decent amount of time and have something to read. That way they're not, just when you don't get a book that you've backed, it kind of feels like you're just throwing your money out into the ether and getting nothing in return. And that's no way to treat people that have invested in you.
Right. Although, it's sort of a catch-22 by the same token, because crowdfunding by its very nature is supposed to pay for the project.
Right.
So unless you've got the funds or go deep into debt ahead of time, it's difficult to put these books out. I mean,
sure,
it can be anywhere from, I'm going to generalize here, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on how many artists, the quality of the artist, the speed, et cetera. So you can imagine that 100 pages, for example, that's a lot of art that I had to pay for.
That's a lot of content. Yeah, that's a chonker of a book.
Art and coloring and lettering, and it wasn't without its foibles, because, for example, I had a colorist and letterer on a couple of these chapters who absolutely had to stop doing the work for me because I had to stop paying them.
Yeah.
And why did I have to stop paying them? Because they were in Russia.
Oh no.
So I can't send money to Russia, period.
Right.
It's a sanctioned country now. So I couldn't pay them. Irene Krieger is her name. Maxim Mel is her husband, who's the letterer.
Yeah.
It killed me. And I said, I'm sorry that you can't continue. And they said, yeah, I'm sorry too. We're not doing it for free. I'm like,
right.
No,
well, I mean,
totally
they shouldn't have to,
yeah, right. So yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Had to
shift gears. Yep.
Right. So, but I found some people who could emulate their work pretty well. So there won't be like a shock in, change from one colorist to another. So quickly here, my characters are Bot 42. That's the one I say. It's got 16 pages. His origin story is told there. This is some of the interior art. Dr. Primordial is an ancient sorcerer, and he faces off against a Varanigan, another sorcerer. Sakura is Japanese for cherry blossom, and she's the martial artist of the Dojo Kun universe. And then Wisecracker is my street level vigilante. So he's got those two, they're like cricket bats that he uses, or truncheons. Yeah. So there's some art from Dr. Primordial, Sakura, and Wisecracker. Nice. You can see those on the campaign page. Sovereign would be like the super powerful alien in our world. Sparrow is the one I talked about on that cover, where she was a kleptomaniac who was getting super bored, and then she meets a genie, or properly pronounced a djinn.
A djinn,
who gives her the ability to be uncatchable.
I mean, it's kind of the perfect superpower for a thief.
Right. So, Juggernaut's unstoppable. Eunice is untouchable. Well, Sparrow is uncatchable. And so that story will unfold for her. And then Halia and Undine are like aquatic goddesses. So these two shapeshifters name themselves after those goddesses, and they have the ability to shapeshift from a human form to their true mutant form to this mermaid form. And those are the only three forms they can take. So they're not unlimited shapeshifters, but they can pass for human and not be, gold and purple all the time. So I think the colors and the art on the Sovereign chapter is a little reminiscent of Mobius. I hope that you can
kind of reminds me of Mike Allred as well. You know,
okay,
some of like the stuff that Mike Allred's done, especially like the X-Force book that he did, you know, some years back.
Yep. He also did Madman.
Yep.
Okay. And then here's a page from Sparrow where she's meeting up with the Djinn.
The Djinn, yeah, the Djinn. I see you down there, Feline.
What's Feline saying?
Djinn. She's making a joke. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I've got Lone Shark, who's my aquatic like Namor dude. Scarlet Archer, should be pretty obvious who he's like. And then Skin, Swat, and Swift are 3 armored characters that are hired by a company who sponsors them to become superheroes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
you got all kinds of different heroes in this universe. Playing with a bunch of different archetypes, and you know, doing all kinds of different things with them. You got corporate sponsored superheroes. You've got the super strong alien. You've got the Archer. This is cool, man. Got a whole fleshed out universe here. That's
when you've been reading them for 50 plus years. It's right. Like I've got all these stories banging around in my head here, and I can't type fast enough sometimes.
Yeah.
So here's
I can imagine.
Archer.
Yeah.
With his first supervillain, the Electric Eye. Okay, so here's the supplemental book. It's Deanna, Hammer of the Angels, #1. Like I said, it's 22 pages. It is also fully complete. There's an opportunity to get catch-up tier for Siamese if you missed that the first time around. That's over 120 pages.
Oh, wow.
And it's got 4 issues of Siamese that were 22 pages each. It's got a gallery and a few other things like behind the scenes. So yeah, that tops out at 122 or 125, something like that. Projectile Reptile was my latest campaign that just fulfilled earlier this year. And this one is 48 pages.
So there's a possibility to get lots of comic on this campaign.
Lots to read, yes. These 2 ash cans are
what's
available.
up, Odin? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, Odin.
Thanks for coming.
These 2 ash cans are available. Meanwhile came with Siamese, and Bog came with Projectile Reptile. And then lastly, I have these on all of my campaigns, the Chibi stickers. Some people love these things. I think they're awesome. This will come as an entire sheet of all the characters.
Awesome.
So
who did your chibi stickers for you?
This is Aaron Thompson out of the UK.
Very cool. Yeah, people seem to like the chibi stickers. I mean, I saw down there you've got a 6 a.m. On there. Gotta love my boy 6.
Yeah. So what's a campaign without something by 6 a.m.? So
I mean, is it really a crowdfunding campaign without something by 6 a.m.?
Nope.
Yeah.
So these are stretch goals. Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here, a little optimistic, but I put them on there. At 6,000, it'll be a magnet, 3x5 magnet.
Nice.
Of Scarlet Archer, and at 7,000, a 3x5 magnet of Deanna, Hammer of the Angels.
Oh, awesome! I like that one too.
Yeah, he does such a good job. They're so stylized.
He's great, man. I love 6. He's been one of my friends in this scene for a long time. Love that dude.
Now,
Mark does good work.
Part of the issue with showing you stretch goals is that's a little optimistic as we stand right now. 16 backers, only 13% funded. Now, this number here, I didn't come to this number lightly. I'm trying to recoup cost for 100 pages of art and color.
Right.
Actually, 122 if you include the Deanna Hammer of the Angels issue.
Right.
That's also available here. So yeah, I'm more than likely going to have to extend another 30 days. Thankfully, Indiegogo allows you to do that. So I will extend another 30 days, and I'll know if we fund by Christmas Eve.
Awesome. Odin says, "I'm here to hang out after being emotionally wrecked by Dan to Dan."
Oh,
not exactly sure what that means, but I'm sorry you were emotionally wrecked, my friend. Let's talk comics, and you can heal.
Comics can be cathartic, right?
Comics can be very cathartic, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. Comics have been with me and entertained me and taken my mind off of all kinds of sad times throughout my life. They've always been there.
I hear you. Yep,
love stories.
Half a century for me. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Yeah, I'm not quite as long, but I mean, I've been collecting comics since I was 3. My dad got me into comics when I was 3. So I'm 41 now. So long while. Not quite 50 years, but I'm getting there.
You will.
Getting there. Yeah. Oh yeah. I shit, man. I ain't stopping anytime soon. I love reading these things. You kidding me?
That's right. Now, just real quick, I see we're getting low on time, so I want to touch on the tiers. And fortunately, for this campaign, I kept it very simple. Okay. So we got the completist collector tier. Talked about that one already.
There's a lot of content in that tier for those just tuning in. A lot of content.
We've got a digital tier, which will feature the Eric Ninaltowski cover.
Nice.
That's for who either want it to be mobile, to take it along with them easily, or those that want to avoid overseas shipping.
Yep.
The main cover is $25. And although that's a pretty standard price these days, remember, folks, it's 100 pages.
I was about to say, that's actually a pretty good deal for 100 pages. You'd be hard-pressed to get something from the comic shop that's 100 pages that's only $25. So that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Also, the XX chromosome cover, I kept it the same price. I didn't bump up the price for the variant. So that's also $25, and so is the XY chromosome cover, featuring one sneaky XX chromosome person.
Featuring one kleptomaniac thief that cannot be caught.
Right. Then there is the main cover in hardcover form. I had hardcovers on both Siamese. Siamese hardcover was by the Barton Brothers, and then my Projectile Reptile hardcover was by Shelby Robertson.
Love that dude too.
And the great thing about the Shelby Robertson cover is he said that was the first time any of his work had been in hardcover form.
Oh, awesome. Heck yeah.
So that was cool. So this one here, it'll be a hardcover available right there, as you see at the bottom of the tiers, for $40, which is the price point I had for the first two. And I limited this one to 50. The only other that are available is in the completist collector tier. So there'll be these 50, and however many people buy the completist collector. So if just this one takes this tier, there will be 51.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna print up exactly how many you need.
Right.
That's awesome. Okay, it's gonna be very limited then, guys. So if you like hardcovers, like your comics in hardcover, then you might want to either go ahead and grab the hardcover edition, or help Dojo out and grab the completist collection. Get all of that, especially if you missed any of the other campaigns. I mean, there's a lot of comic content here, a lot of characters, a lot of story, an entire universe to delve into, really.
I'm glad you said that, because when you tweeted this out, you said that this was a 100-page monster of the Dojo Kuniverse. And the thing I do want to point out to folks is this is a connected superhero universe. So Siamese, Projectile Reptile, Deanna Hammer of the Angels, they are all in the same universe, the same Earth. In fact, if you have a chance to go to my website, you'll see that there are a few other books that seemingly aren't related. Like one is The Mad King. It's set in medieval times. But no, that one is also on this Earth, but back in medieval times.
In the past,
If I can keep this going, there will be a time where the connection is made. Like he's not going to suddenly leap forward into modern day Earth, but there will be a way to see how that's the same universe, because something that happens in his era will affect current day.
Awesome. The link for the website is in the description of this video, but Feline is dropping the link for the Dojo Kun Chronicles, so you guys can help Dojo out and get yourself some comics. Get a bunch of stuff to read. Odin says, "Oh, it's an anime, and it might be the weirdest thing I've watched in a while." Really, that's saying a lot, considering how fond you are of what is that weird one that's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
no,
that
really?
you seem to be a really big fan of that one, Odin. So saying that this one is the weirdest thing you've watched in a while, that's saying something. But episode 7 hit me like an emotional brick in the face. Wow.
So he's referring to that Dan thing, not my book.
Yeah. No. He's talking about the Dan to Dan anime. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
right.
not your book. No, but I mean, that the 100-page hardcover. I mean, and if you got hit with that, it might feel like a brick to the face. But you can at least read this book after you've been hit with it. Brick to the face is just a brick to the face. It's no fun. This book, fun. Comics, fun. Read comics. They're good for you. Good for your brain. Good for the mind.
So like you said, we've been publishing for 10 years now. Help us.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Just keep going, man. There's not a lot of people that can say that they've been doing that. Independent publishing, even like especially before crowdfunding was, it was rough. It was hard to independently publish because you got to find a way to get the book out there, get it in the comic shops, get it out to the audience, and they didn't have. I mean, look at the black and white, indie comics boom of the '80s into the early '90s. They didn't have the internet to connect to people like we are right now. They had to put foot to pavement and go to different shops. They had to call around. They had to go to conventions. Do that whole convention circuit, and hopefully get people to take a chance on their indie book. Now we've the bar of entry is a lot lower, but there's a lot more people out there doing it because it's a lot more available to people. So there's a lot more stuff. There's a cacophony. There's a din of story out there, and it's hard to stand out. And having a reputation of having a universe that you've been putting together for 10 years and more. As we can see, that's a hell of a thing to be able to say, man. That's a good track record that not a lot of people have. So it builds over time, and perseverance pays off.
Indeed, yeah. This is definitely a passion. It's not my day job, like I said earlier. So this is something that I do. I would do this even if all it did was break even if I didn't make a dime, I'd still want to do this.
Well, because the stories mean something to you, because the characters mean something to you, and the stories need to be told, and that's the best reason to tell a story. Not because you think it's going to be this hit, not because you think that you're going to make a bunch of money off of it, but because the story keeps kicking around in your brain and it needs to be told, and it keeps pestering you until that story is told.
And sometimes when you start putting pen to page or start typing away, sometimes they write themselves because it's in you and it needs out.
Yep. The way I look at it is that, as writers, we're receiving a story from somewhere else. We're receiving it, and it is our job to transcribe it as best we can, to give it to the world for other people to read it. Because you know how it goes when you're writing something. You don't know exactly where it came from, but this is the story that needs to be told, and you got to tell it honestly. You got to be honest with the story that you're telling, and you've got to transcribe it as best as possible. Odin says, yes, comics fun. Dojo, keep it up, man.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep. And listen to the wise Feline. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and while you're at it, go hit that link. Go get yourself some comics, and if you can, go hit that featured tier and get a bunch of comics and dive into the Dojo Kuniverse. And
I'll happily get that printed and packaged and sent to you ASAP.
And like you said, it's 100% done. Everything's done. All you got to do is jump in on this campaign, help him out, and get it printed and get it shipped out to you, man. That's awesome, dude. And I like the fact that the campaign is short and sweet. There's not an infinite list of different perks and tiers and stuff like that. It's just to the point. I've heard a lot of people say that the campaigns that have a lot of choice, they get anxiety about what to pick. You know what I mean?
It's almost like decision paralysis.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is.
I don't want to slam him, but a friend of mine who's in indie comics, and he's more popular on Kickstarter than Indiegogo, but he'll come out with like a comic book with 22 variant covers. And it's like, wow, dude, I like 10 of them, but I'm not going to buy the comic book 10 times. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I worked in my local comic shop, and we would have these oodles of variant covers. And, I'll pick one variant cover that I like and I want to pick up the book. So I'll pick one variant cover. That's it. Just one. The one I like the best. And, it's a glut of stuff that doesn't need to be there. Yeah, the covers are cool, but maybe do them as prints or something like that.
Go.
Or save them for another book.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like comics don't need an infinite amount of variant covers. They should be limited to a certain number of covers. Odin says golden rule is 4 covers in his opinion. Well, there you go. See?
Well, technically, I've got 4. I've got the 3 plus the Hammer of the Angels.
Yep. There you go. You fit into the golden rule, man.
All right.
But again, the decision paralysis. People always want the psychology of buying things, of consumerism. Like, people want to get the best value for their buck. They want to get the most bang for their buck. They want to get the best thing. And if there are too many choices, then they fear that they're not going to make the right decision. So they don't make a decision at all. They choose to do nothing. They choose to buy nothing instead, because that is somehow better than making the wrong decision and being upset with what they end up with. So I think you made the right choice.
Consumers do like to have choice. That's why
they do.
A few covers is good. But as soon as you cross, I don't know where the line is. Maybe Odin's right. I don't know where the line is for sure. But as soon as you cross that line, you come across what you're saying, where people are like, yeah, but if I get this one, will I regret that I didn't get that one? And,
Yep, and it's a balancing act for both the customer and the salesman.
Right.
You got to find that sweet spot. You want to make sure that, because people like to feel like they're getting a good deal on things as well. They want to feel like they're getting a deal.
And if you're a completist collector like me, having just the 3 makes it attainable.
Yes.
When Secret Wars 2 #1 came out, there were 45 variant covers.
Good
now,
Lord.
I try to collect everything She-Hulk is in. Okay.
Right.
And I try to get all the variants. But when that starts happening, and some of those variants are, Manhattan Comic Book Store exclusive, Mile High Comic Book Store exclusive in Colorado. There's more than one of them. And you can get it. But now it's $300 2 days later.
Yeah.
So
no.
Those 45 covers are absolutely impossible for me. And now, as a completist collector, I feel defeated.
Yeah, which is not how you want your customer base to feel when it comes to, especially the completionists.
Right. So there will be no way for me to get all of those covers. And therefore, I feel like my She-Hulk collection is not complete, which is a bummer.
Yep. I mean, I realize there's certain books that I will never get. I mean, like Hulk 181. I realize that I will likely never have that one. There was a Venom #1 that with the Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman run. They did like a 1 in 200 cover. It was a black and white Todd McFarlane Venom cover, and it's like, really, guys? Okay, so the store had to buy 200 copies of that book to get one of those that they then sold for like $500. Like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. That just means that there's a whole lot of books that don't get sold in order for that one book to get sold, and that's just it's a terrible business model, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And what you said about Hulk #181, I actually did get that one many years ago.
Nice.
And when I sold it, I bought a car.
Well, there you go. Worked out in your favor, man.
Yeah.
Worked out in your favor.
Talk about a rate of return.
Right? Odin says 6 variants is like the max I'd ever do, but generally 4 offers enough variety. And I completely agree, Odin. Incentive covers are fucking predatory. Yes, they are. 100% predatory, and it's not just predatory on the customer; it's predatory on the comic shops as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing what my boss Vanessa had to go through in order to get just a few different of the chase variants or the incentive covers at our little shop in St. Augustine was just it broke my heart. It's sad. It's ridiculous. Hey, what's up, Bob Jester? Welcome. He says, picking up 3 Dojo Kun titles. Glad I caught the stream tonight. Well, thanks for coming to hang out, man. We really appreciate that. And thank you for backing Dojo. We appreciate that, man. Well, we've been going for a little over an hour now. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Dojo Kun Chronicles before we wrap this one up, man?
Just that I think you'll love it. I try to emulate the gold standard of comic book superhero writing. I try to emulate Marv Wolfman, Chris Claremont, etc. These superheroes are, in my opinion, the way superheroes should be. There's no gray areas or whatever. It's truly going back to when I loved comics most, and that was in the 80s.
Absolutely.
I think you'll love it.
Same. That was like the golden age into the early 90s, and then there's a few things here and there that are good.
Wheels came off.
Yeah, the wheels started coming off. The brakes started, failing, and yeah. Right. Odin says, "Here's a variant you have to buy 300 issues for you to sell one that you have to sell for $100, which no one will buy." Exactly. So you know what? Take that $100 and invest in somebody's dream. Help indie comics succeed, and go ahead and back Dojo Kun Chronicles on Indiegogo. Hit that link. Thanks for coming to hang out, Dojo. Chat, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. And remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.